Welcome everyone back to the channel. This is going to be a quick video where I go through just my general overall impressions and kind of a mini review of Lenovo Thinkpad P1. This is the Gen 2 version. I'm going to do a long review down the line, but this is just going to be more of a just kind of first impressions and how I think it performs over the first week of use. So the first thing, I'll try to get you some shots of the laptop also. This is your standard 15-inch all-purpose multimedia, somewhat productivity laptop. You could also call it a workstation if you want, since the ThinkPad line is more on the workstation side of things. But this is it's similar to like a Dell XPS 15 or the new 16-inch MacBook Pro. So I'll kind of go over the specs a little bit and kind of how it's performed over the first week. So this is a 15-inch laptop. I did go with the standard HD display. I went with the step-up version, the 500 nit HDR display, which is a little bit more color accurate and it's much more brighter. You can also get a 4K option, but that's not something that I really needed or wanted because I have a nice monitor to do that, and I wanted the extra battery life, which the 4K panel really drains the battery life in this because it doesn't have the largest battery in it. So this does have a Core i9. This is an i5 6-core processor. No idea what the specs are on it. It's a 6-core processor, which is all that matters. 16 gigabytes of RAM, 512 gigabyte NVMe SSD, 80 watt battery, and that's really it. Those are your general specs. I believe it has an Intel. I believe it has Intel 6 Wi-Fi in it. I have to double check, but it does have the Intel Wi-Fi in it over something else. So the first thing out of the box that I noticed about this is that I've had an X1 Extreme, the first gen one, and it's just overall one of the better built laptops out there. This will withstand a little bit more abuse than say something like a MacBook Pro or an XPS 15. It does have a spill resistant keyboard. So basically what that means is you could spill some fluid on it and it will drain through some holes in the back. I'll try to get you some pictures of it, but it does have a spill resistant keyboard. But the build quality overall, I feel like I could probably drop this and it would withstand the fall, so you can probably be a little bit more not as gentle with it. If you're someone that's a little bit more rough with your stuff, this would be something to go for that. So just getting out of the box, that's the first thing I noticed, is that it's built fairly well. There's very little backlight bleed, which is something pads you have issues with that. There's very little backlight bleed, and the keyboard feels nice. There's not much flex in the screen. Not that you would be flexing the screen or anything anyways, but I know that's what a lot of reviewers go and do. But footprint, it's pretty light because it's made of mainly plastic, and there is a metal frame in there, but it's mainly made of plastic and a rubberized material. So as for performance, it does really well doing just some light photo editing, video editing. I've done a little bit of that, and overall it's performed really well. I haven't had any issues. It does have a fingerprint reader, which you see I just unlocked there. It does have an 80 watt battery, and I'm getting anywhere between, I want to say 7 to 10 hours of battery life, which is general productivity stuff. Have maybe 10 Chrome tabs open, Apple Music or Spotify, Lightroom. Lightroom tends to drain it, especially Lightroom Classic for some reason tends to drain the battery life more than anything else, but you can easily probably get 7 to 8 hours with just general standard use. Maybe a little less if you're doing some video editing and really pushing the processor, but besides that, great battery life. It feels nice. I feel like the rubber is a little bit more resistant to fingerprints than before. Before, if you've ever had a ThinkPad, especially their newer ones, they're really prone for fingerprints. I mean, they feel nice, they feel well built, the casing and everything, but they're just known to get fingerprints all over them, and I'm not noticing that as much with this one. I'm really impressed with the screen. I wasn't really sure how I would think of a standard HD, HDR, kind of a step up from their general HD display, but it's a really nice, pretty color accurate. I'm not going to measure it, but you can kind of just tell comparing it to a color accurate 4K monitor. It's bright enough for me, and again, I got that for the extra battery life. It stays relatively cool. I haven't noticed the fans to kick on very much at all. It tends to let the CPU run a little hotter than I would like. It runs around 40 to 45 degrees, sometimes in the 50, 55 before it will actually kick the fans on. So it will let the CPU get a little warmer than I would like, but again, you could probably fix that with adjusting the fan curve or put it on more of a cooling setting versus I just have it on balance right now, which works out pretty well. Excellent keyboard. I think it's the best keyboard out there on the market right now. I haven't tested the new Dell XPS 15 or 17 because those aren't shipping yet, and I probably won't be able to test one for some time unless I find one in stores, but it's miles above what any of the MacBook Pro's keyboards are in my opinion, and it's a little spill resistant, so you can spill some fluid on it and it will go right through. It is backlit. The backlighting is not the brightest in the world, but it does a fairly good job. So that's it with the keyboard. Again, it's not very loud. You don't ever hear the fans really kick on. The speakers are the Dolby Atmos. It has a little kind of a label on there. I don't know if that's an upgrade from the Gen 1. They sound okay. They're not anything like a MacBook Pro or anything, mainly because they're firing downwards. So if they're not sitting on a desk, you will notice that. But they sound decent enough. If you want better quality, just plug in a set of headphones. That's what I would do. As far as port selection, that's another thing that I really like about this laptop. You get two standard USB-A, you get an SD card reader, two USB-C, Thunderbolt, and headphone jack, and then you get a little proprietary connection if you want to do Ethernet. Lenovo has an Ethernet adapter, which didn't come with this. It came with previous models, the Gen 1s, but you have to buy that yourself. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the system. I paid around, I know with taxes and everything, it was around $1,600, so I paid around $1,400, I think $1,425 for it, which I think is a bargain compared to if you looked at a similar spec MacBook Pro. Granted, that would probably have more online with the 4K display, but you could save between $600, $700, $800 from a MacBook Pro. You can get an XPS 15 around the same line as this, but if you're not really key to either Windows or the Apple operating system, this is probably the laptop I'd recommend. If you're trying to get a 15-inch laptop, this is the one I would go for. So overall, I'm happy with it. Build quality is good. It's, again, I like a little bit larger of a laptop, so maybe a little larger for some people. But overall, I'm really pleased with it, and you can actually get into it and work on it. So you can just filter head screws, take it off, and you have two NVMe drives in here, so you could put two SSDs in here if you wanted. But you can get in and do some little bit of stuff on there if you want to upgrade the RAM or the Wi-Fi card, or you want to throw in some more storage or upgrade storage down the line. You can do that fairly easily, and it doesn't void any warranty like a lot of your other more soldered on systems like some of the MacBooks and stuff. So that's it, guys. It does have an IR and a webcam. The IR is mainly for Windows Hello to unlock it, but it works fairly well. It's a little slow to turn on, but overall, it's a fast system, especially for 2020. You can get these on good deals right now, especially they're having Memorial Day deals, and there's all kinds of different pricing from week to week that they run on these. I'll try to get a link below if you want to purchase one, but they're usually not on Amazon. Usually it's best to go straight through Lenovo, or if you can find one through Lenovo's outlet, that's also another really good spot to get one. I forgot to mention the graphics card. It has a Quattro graphics card. Honestly, I would have preferred the X1 Extreme Gen 2 with the 1650 Max Q in it, but they weren't going to ship till June. This was a quick ship model, so I went ahead and got the one with the Quattro. I think it's the 1000 series card, which I'm fine with. I don't do any hardcore gaming or anything like that, and I have a desktop if I wanted to do something like that. So that's it. I'll get more long-term review as I use this and go down the line. If you guys have any questions, concerns, feel free to leave the comments below, and I will get back to you. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.